Hi, I'm Harold Bell, and this is the Legends of Inside Sports and the Way We Were. Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday is January 15th, and Martin Luther King's birthday is January 17th. And the following month of February has been designated as Black History Month. When you finish listening to this show, please explain to me, what does the black athlete in the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, and the few black players in the National Hockey League have to celebrate relating to these two great men? They gave their lives to allow them, today's black athlete, to stand for something and not fall for just anything. These athletes should hang their heads and confess they have fumbled, kicked, and dropped the ball all in the same game. Reverend King's birthday has been declared an official holiday celebrated in America. Ali's birthday will be celebrated around the world unofficially. Recently, a CNN media personality wrote a blog titled "What Martin Luther King Might Say to Donald Trump." My question and response: what Martin Luther King might say to Black America, especially the black athlete. When you have been in the company of a man whose word you could carry to the bank, and you have sat on the mountaintop with him, it does not get any better than the greatest Muhammad Ali. I have been there and done that. Today on the Legends of Inside Sports, I'm going to take you back to one of my shows aired in December 1985, and hopefully it will give you some idea of the state of Black America and especially the black athlete in 2018. You will hear the testimony of Dr. Harry Edwards, who was the brains behind the 1968 Olympic Project boycott, with sprinters John Carlos and Tommy Smith raising their hands in a Black Power salute that was heard and seen around the world. Dr. Edwards' newest project is quarterback Colin Kaepernick, who took a knee as a San Francisco 49er player to protest against police departments shooting and killing black unarmed men across America. The media, NFL owners, and the President of the United States of America changed the narrative. Joining Dr. Edwards in this forum will be Dr. Al Tony Gilmore, author of the best-selling book, Bad Nigger. The book describes the trials and tribulations of the first black heavyweight champion of the world, Jack Johnson, NFL Hall of Fame and Green Bay Packer player Willie Wood, DC basketball legend Ralph Daddy Grace Page, and his Roxborough, North Carolina high school basketball coach, the legendary Skink Browning. And last but not least, Dunbar High School and Ohio State quarterback Cornelius Green. So I want you just to sit back, enjoy this show from 1985 as we take a look at Black America and especially the black athlete. Bear with me.
And now for Inside Sports, here's Harold Bell. Okay, welcome to Inside Sports. I'm your host, Harold Bell. Another exciting and stimulating sports talk show for Saturday, what's the day, December the 21st? December the 21st. And before I kick this show off, I would like to thank some people who are going to make some kids very happy this Christmas for coming out and supporting the Christmas toy drive down at RSVP restaurant last Sunday. I'm talking about my man Joe Louis Abney, who I'm expecting here in the studio shortly. Manute Bowl, Jeff Malone, Dudley Bradley, Phil Chenier, and many, many other folks who came out and brought donations and toys. I'd like to thank Olivia Powell's two daughters for coming out and bringing some toys and donations, and also the Bullet Cheerleaders who came out to support that effort. And of course, Bill Harris came out to entertain the folks, one of the top jazz guitarists in the country. Chris Thomas came out and added some humor to the event, and we all had a very, very good time. And the profits from that will benefit the young people at the Family Life Center, Girls and Boys Club, located at 9th and P Street Northwest, where Phil Chenier is the director. So once again, those of you who made contributions as you do every year, I want to say, wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And Christmas is right around the corner. Each Saturday, I'm the kind of guy I can't fool myself, and I'm always getting hyped up about my show here because it's always very stimulating to me and educational to me. The type of guest that I'm able to bring to Inside Sports. And this Saturday is actually no exception. I'm going to have some young men here in the studio with me who are legends. I mean, really in their own time. And I'm the kind of guy I never been one to bite my tongue about my athletic exploits on the field. I always say I was bad, I was bad in this football, basketball, baseball, and I got the newspaper clippings to prove it. But I got some guys here today I can't touch when it comes time about being great athletes. Really, I'm just one who have to sit back and just look on in amazement because these guys have really have accomplished some great things on the athletic field, in the classroom, and I'm very proud to have them here in the studios Inside Sports today. We're going to be dealing with the black athlete and his role in American history. That's going to be a continuing series on here. Anytime I can get knowledgeable people here on Inside Sports, because we have such a rich history that we don't know too much about because of a lack of knowledge in the media, or maybe because of this omission by the white media that the exploits of the great black athletes of our time have not been seem to be newsworthy. But here on Inside Sports, we'll be dealing with that because, like I said, we have such a rich history. Right now, I'd like to introduce two of my guests here in the studio. The first guy is a young man that is definitely a legend here in Washington, D.C., with his exploits in the D.C. public schools. He's out of Dunbar High School, where he was a great all-around athlete. He was All-American his senior year here. In fact, I always say that this guy made me give up the coaching ranks. I was coaching at the Cardozo his senior year, and I just knew we had them whipped up at Wilson High School, I knew we had them whipped. We get them in tough situations, and time again, he would do something to bring them out, offensively or defensively. He went on to Ohio State, where he became an outstanding quarterback there and led Ohio State to the Orange Bowl on several occasions. I think 3 out of the 4 years you were there, he led Ohio State to the Orange Bowl. Rose Bowl, I'm sorry, Rose Bowl, the big bowl, Rose Bowl. Thank you, Tony, the Rose Bowl. And he played with some outstanding athletes. Like I said, he's a product of this system, and he's a guy that we all should be very proud of because even in his heyday, I mean, when he was getting all the attention, he was always down to earth and for real people. He was always approachable. And I'm talking about this guy was known all over America as one of the great athletes. He's no stranger to Inside Sports, and I'm happy that I've been able to just touch him in some small way, and that I'm a friend of his. I'd like to take time out to welcome to Inside Sports Cornelius Green. How you doing, Cornelius?
Fine, Harold. It's a pleasure being here this morning.
Well, it's a pleasure having you, Cornelius. And this next young man, he's no stranger to Inside Sports. He's been on here several times, whether here or some other stations, been very supportive. Was an all-star athlete too. He won many track awards at North Carolina College as a broad jumper and sprinter under Dr. Leroy Walker, one of the legendary track coaches in the country. Dr. Walker is known all over this country as really as an authority on the track and field. Dr. Gilmore also is the author of Bad Nigger, the national impact of Jack Johnson, the great legendary fighter. So without further ado, I would like to welcome to Inside Sports Dr. Tony Gilmore. How you doing, Tony?
Pleasure.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to have you here. Tony and Cornelius, we're going to be dealing with what's going on in athletics today. You know, it's a thing not to want to look back, but sometimes I think we should take time out to look back because there are so many people out there in our audience who are not aware of the many, the treasure. It's a treasure trove of black athletic history in this country that has been, the surface has not even been scratched. And you two have also been a part of the history of the black athlete. So I am looking forward to today's show. And those of you who have a comment or a question for my guest here in the studio, you can call 462-3313. I want to take a slight break, and I'll be right back. Okay? Commercial break. Either way you want to go, Wendell.
Excuse me, sir, but you'll have to stop that scratching noise. This is a library.
Oh, but if I stop, I won't find out if I won the DC Lottery's new instant game. There's over 600,000 cash prizes.
600,000 cash prizes?
You can win up to $5,000 instantly, and the odds are fantastic.
Well, scratch this one.
Okay.
Ignatius, we've won!
We?
Well, this is my library.
Scratch and win in the new DC instant game. Santa's Helpers, Big Wig Liquors, located at 4th and King Street Northwest, are having a pre-Christmas sale on holiday spirit. You can have Santa fill some lucky person's stocking with 5 liters of E&G brandy for only $13.49. How about surprising someone on Christmas morning with 1 liter of Hennessy under their tree for only $21.99? And then the two of you can bring in the new year in grand style with a fifth of Wine Master champagne for only $3.59. Every Christmas Eve, Santa hitches up his reindeer for his worldwide journey, but he never goes anywhere without his ponies. I'm talking about the ponies from Miller High Life, and they're on sale for only $9.99 for a case of 48. And talking about the holiday spirit, I wonder if old St. Nick is aware of what is going on over at 4th and K Street Northwest. Haywood and Ben are really in the Christmas spirit of giving, so you better hurry on over to Pickwick Liquors at 4th and K Street Northwest before these guys come to their senses. And be sure to tell Haywood and Ben that Santa Claus sent you.
Okay, welcome back to Inside Sports. And Haywood and Ben asked me to ask you to not to drink and drive this holiday, okay? As I told you earlier, here in the studio with me, I have Dr. Tony Gilmore and Cornelius Green, former great athletes, and also many, many, many contributions as student athletes. They weren't just athletes; they were student athletes. On the phone right now, I have a young man that I guess is one of the foremost authorities on the black athlete. He's a graduate of St. Jose State, where he was an outstanding athlete and student. He earned his PhD at Cornell University. Like I said, he is the foremost authority in the country on the black athlete. He was the coordinator and leader of the 1968 Olympic boycott, where track star John Carlos and Tommy Smith raised their fists for black love at the Olympic award ceremonies. He is the most prolific author in the country on the black athlete, and some of his books have been The Revolt of the Black Athlete, Black Students, Sports is Myth and Realities, and now I understand he has his own autobiography out. I would like to welcome to Inside Sports a guy who is sought after as a speaker all over the country, the one and only Dr. Harry Edwards. How you doing, Doc?
Oh, just fine, just fine.
Good. Doc, like I said, I'm very happy to have you here on Inside Sports today. Doc, I was reading a book called The Black Scholar that I've had since 1971. And I went back over that book, and I was reading some of your comments in there, and I'd like to ask you about it. In 1971 issue of Black Scholar magazine, you wrote, since the onset of the revolt of 1968 of the black athlete, There have been numerous occurrences which many interpret as indicative of improvement in the overall racial situation in the sports arena. Dr. Edwards, this is 14 years later. From where you sit now, has there been that much improvement?
There's been change. To speak in terms of improvement constitutes a tremendous leap in faith. We have more black athletes participating in football, basketball, baseball, track and field, and boxing today than at any other time in our history. But beyond those sports, there's been virtually no progress. So that's collegiate level. We're basically talking about basketball and football. We have one black head football coach in the entire country, one black athletic director in the entire country at a major Division I, traditionally white university. Although when we look at the number of scholarships that black athletes are getting and their proportions and starting roles, we find that we are double and triple, and in some instances quadruple, overrepresented in the athlete role because that is a productive role. What they have set up in this country is a plantation system at the collegiate level and at the professional level. There's never been a head football coach in professional football, and that's a travesty that Roselle and the white media in this country continue to wink at. So there's been change. We have more blacks participating, but to say improvement overlooks the fact of this continued traditional racism. We've essentially gone from a situation of pre-Jackie Robinson Jim Crow sports to post-Jackie Robinson sports that I characterize as Mr. James Crow Esquire, a very sophisticated way of maintaining the same traditional racist system.
Yeah, you know, Doc, and while we're touching on pro football, there was an article in the Washington Post, and you know, they're trying to get David Schuler to be the head coach in Philadelphia, and this is what one of the sports writers said. He said, in light of warning of young David Schuler, some people will charge accurately that it is a farce that the National Football League still has not had a black head coach. But these are separate issues. The black issue is not about justice. The Schuler issue is about revolution. What do you think about a statement like that, Don?
Well, I think that basically, again, the press in the country has to face this issue straight on. If you go back and look at the whole history of the black evolution in mainstream American sports, you will find that the press has been, for the most part, a consistent supporter of the status quo. This is not a separate issue. To bring in a 26-year-old white boy and to give him all kinds of publicity as a legitimate candidate for a coaching job, which he might be, and not to look at the fact that no black has been seriously considered for a head coaching job in the NFL in its entire history, while 57% of the players and a disproportionate number of the star players and starters, and here I'm talking about the Walter Paytons and so forth, are black, is a travesty. It's an issue of justice. It's an issue of what that institution of professional football really stands for. And what it stands for today is white nationalism, without question. What it stands for today is white nationalism. It's a travesty that people of the caliber of Willie Wood, that people of the caliber of Eddie Robinson, that people of the caliber of numerous individuals who have Willie Brown, who now coaches as an assistant for the Raiders, have not been given a legitimate shot at a professional head football coaching job. Apparently, they believe that coaching ability, leadership ability, and so forth is somehow a genetic endowment and not the one that is occasioned by experience, commitment, integrity, and developed capability. And under those kinds of circumstances, it's consistent that a 26-year-old white boy would be given a shot because his daddy has been an outstanding coach, and so genetically he's prepared to be both white and from a coaching family, whereas blacks who have the same kind of potential, if not more potential, are not even given a shot at trying out to see if they can win.
Tony?
Harry, I could not agree with you more. The point is very well spoken, and rightfully so. I think that you pinpoint the obligation for bringing this to the attention of the public, assuming that the public is not aware, and I have some suspect about that as well. I would pin that with the American press and the American media. I'm wondering of the integrity of quote unquote a Howard Cosell, or the integrity of a Dick Young, or the integrity of a Tom Boswell, or even for that matter numerous other sports writers who have influence in sports journalists across the country. It seems that there has been a knee-jerk bashfulness to attack this kind of an issue, and I think you pinpointed it. But at the same time, I'm wondering about
What?
the kind of leverage that perhaps some of the quote unquote black influential journalists should be able to bear upon this topic. I think it is an insult. I think it is an embarrassment. I do not think that the National Football League, however, is the only professional major sports organization that has not addressed the problem of racism fairly and squarely, and a sense to bring about an equitable resolution. For example, if the National Football League were to appoint a black head football coach tomorrow morning, I'm not certain that I could conclude that the problem had been resolved. I would think that it would have been a positive step in the right direction. But to say that we have one is a step forward. But to also say, in the instances of other professional sports across the board, that we have not had more blacks at the general manager level, at the manager level, but even more so than that, that we've not even had blacks taken seriously at the ownership level. I think that speaks of, as you say, some changes that have taken place in American sport, but changes that have not really cut to the core or the fabric of the changes that we will have to make.
Without question, that's correct. I think that black journalists should speak out more militantly about this situation. I think they have an obligation to do so. And I also think that black professional athletes who play the game should speak out more. Of course, there are tremendous risks involved. But Frederick Douglass was quite right nearly 100 years ago when he made the statement that to expect to harvest crops without plowing the field, is ridiculous. The old adage still holds: no pain, no gain. And someone has got to pay that price. Otherwise, we all continue to pay the price in perpetuity. We have one black head football coach at a major Division I institution, Denny Green at Northwestern University. That's a travesty under circumstances where you have conferences such as the Southeastern Conference,
You're right.
Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and so forth, which have 68% of the scholarship football players being black. That is a travesty of justice. And it's really interesting. Black people should really speak out to this issue as well, because no other people in this society, no other ethnic group allows another people to come into their community, take out their most aspiring and competitive young people. Jesse Jackson doesn't have to go through this thing. I am somebody with black athletes. They know they're somebody. They believe that they can be the best. They believe that they can make people forget the O.J. Simpsons and the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Otherwise, they couldn't perform. They couldn't compete effectively the way sports are today, even at the high school level. And we allow people to come into our community, take these young people out, essentially rip them off, dump them like so much excess baggage and human debris, and then come back in that very next year, oftentimes with a Negro smiling by their side, as someone who speaks jive, a head Negro in charge of Negro affairs for the institution and the athletic department, smiling by their side, take out another truckload of those young black people and do the same identical thing again. 75% of the black athletes who go to school on scholarship never graduate from these traditionally white institutions. They never graduate from the schools that they participate for. And these are NC20 statistics. Blacks should be outraged at this situation as a people. So, of course, black journalists and black professional athletes should speak out about the abysmal situation in football, about the fact that we've had only 3 black managers in the entire history of American baseball at the major league level, and not a single one is managing in baseball today. So we have to speak out and be adamant about this, because it speaks not just what is happening in sport, but what is happening in the society at large. Again, Frederick Douglass was correct. You will receive and exactly that level of oppression, exactly that level of injustice that you are willing to tolerate. And we have been very tolerant of this situation under the aegis that, we do have Walter Payton, we do have Kareem, we do have Magic Johnson and Michael Jordan, and that's progress from the days when Satchel Paige and these people were playing in the Negro League. Yes, that's changed. But we must look beyond beyond the numbers. We must look beyond the personalities. Otherwise, we may as well go ahead and say, okay, we want full employment. Let's bring back slavery when all black people had a job and count that as progress. We must look at the substance and the context of the times and the direction that we're moving in.
Doc, you just mentioned Willie Wood. He just walked into the studios. I have two outstanding quarterbacks in major colleges sitting here with me. And as you know, the history of Willie Wood, the all-pro, outstanding athlete, had to go into camp as a free agent. Cornelius Green, of course, at Ohio State, led his team to 3 Rose Bowls. Was not drafted at all. You know, what is happening with these guys? When they get to camp, they want to change from quarterback to wide receiver or defensive back.
It's directly related to the situation that we're confronted with in terms of all leadership and direction positions in Major League Sports, from owner through general manager and head coach, right down to on the field positions of quarterback, center, middle linebacker, and so forth, catcher in baseball, pitcher to a large extent. Anytime that there is a position involving a presumption of intellectual capability, leadership potential, faith in the athlete's directive abilities by teammates and the public. The athlete, the black athlete is denied that position. We have a situation in this country where there is a presumed intellectual inferiority as a fact of genetic inheritance in the black race. And this is reflected on the field. And so you get an outstanding quarterback who is throwing balls to a kid such as Jerry Rice from Mississippi Valley State College. And this Jerry Rice can come in. He starts as a wide receiver, has an outstanding year, tremendous potential. But there is tremendous debate over whether or not that young quarterback who threw so well to Jerry Rice could come into the pros and throw to Jerry Rice as a quarterback in the pros. Something happens in transition, and of course, what happens is that the racist presumption of inherent race-linked black intellectual inferiority, leadership, and capability takes over in the white psyche, and they are simply unwilling to run the risk of what will happen in the turnstile if the overwhelming majority of fans who happen to be white come out to the stadium and see a black quarterback, irrespective of whether he wins or loses. So the black quarterback comes in, he's put at a defensive back, or he's put at a wide receiver, or he is put at some other position that has nothing to do with leadership and direction, at least in terms of the way that is interpreted within the context of a particular sport.
Harry, for the last 15 years or so, at least, and that's put it at the bottom line, you've been talking about, and I'm going to paraphrase you, the quota of positions that when blacks were recruited to Big Tens and blacks were recruited to the Pac-10 and other major football and athletic conferences, that there was a notion that there was a quota on positions, and I think that you've developed that well, and you've also, I think, just taken the lead on talking about the qualitative aspects of coaching, and that is being realistic to the athletes of what their professional potentials really are and what the realities of professional sports positions are. I know Arthur Ashe, I did a piece in the New York Times some 8-9 years ago, in which he outlined that if you were to quantify the total number of professional jobs in professional sports as athletes, that is, the professional jobs in sports, just add up all of the positions on all of the football teams, baseball, all the positions on all of the teams, football, soccer, basketball, across the board, that if you were to conclude that all of those positions in an idealistic way could actually be won by black athletes, even then, you would be looking at such a small number that could actually view professional sports as a viable alternative. Now, the point I'm making is that, and I like this quote you made because I think it's rather dramatic about being hit with a meteorite that would give possibilities and chances. I'd like for you to say something about realistically a qualitative difference that you feel a black coach from a black experience, sensitive to the lifestyles of black people and the potential of black athletes, such as a Jay Gaither and an Eddie Robinson and a Leroy Walker and an Eddie Hurt. You see, when those guys, whenever you go to those guys and you talk about the Willie Gallimores, or you talk about the Tank Youngers, or you talk about Willie Davis, they always talk about my guys graduated. my guys are doing this and doing that. And I don't think that we have that kind of power in major, predominantly white collegiate athletics. And I'm wondering, do you feel, because I think this is an important difference. I am 100% behind an effort for black coaches, but not just for face dressing reasons. I think that black coaches would bring a qualitative difference to our perspective and our perceptions of what athletics should be at intercollegiate level competition. And I'd like to get your feeling on that, Harry.
Well, I think that that's an important step. I think it's important to change the character of the personnel as a beginning to changing the character of the institutional underpinnings that really are behind much of the disgraceful, shameful, rip-off actions that have taken place. What Joe Paterno called the rape of the black athlete over the last 20 to 25 years in this country. I think that the bringing in of black personnel is imperative. On the other hand, we must also recognize that there's an institutional thing that is going on here. That is to say that beyond the personalities involved, there is a system of ripping off that also has to be dealt with, involving alumni, involving college presidents who refuse to meet their responsibilities relative to academic integrity across the spectrum of departments and so forth at a university, involving faculty members who literally don't care because they even presume that blacks are not legitimately on the campus as students and any guys, athletes are any other guys, or they presume that athletes are inherently dumb, that there is some mutual exclusivity between athletic proficiency and intellectual prowess. And so there's an institutional thing that has to be dealt with. But it's very simple to deal with one aspect of it, and that is to begin to bring in blacks at the higher decision-making levels so that there can be some impact. And I'm not saying just bring in someone with a black face, but bring in someone who has that knowledge, that understanding, that commitment to the black experience, to the evolution, intellectual, personal, cultural, and so forth of the black and white athletes in his or her charge. That would be an outstanding beginning, but we must recognize that this thing runs much deeper than simply narrow-minded white coaches and athletic directors who have no knowledge of, no understanding of, no appreciation of the legitimate needs of black athletes as distinct from athletes in general. We have a problem in this country of color blindness, if you will. We went from segregation where color meant everything to color blindness where the presumption was that what's good for the white athlete is also good for the black athlete. And some institutions will even tell you that they don't know how many black athletes they have because they don't count that kind of thing. That kind of thing has to be cleaned up and recognized as the racist ploy that it is. It's a way of continuing to neglect the legitimate needs and interests of the black athlete on an institutional level.
We're going to pay some bills right. Let's take a commercial break. We'll be right back to wrap this up.
Okay. That was 33 years ago, folks. 33 years ago. Here it is, 2018. And we still talking about media speaking out against some of this racism. Still talking about media. And I'm talking about people like James Brown, CBS, Michael Wilbon, my man Dave McKenna of City Paper, Stephen A. Smith. You know, where are you guys? You know, I got to call like I said, Dave McKenna has done more than these black guys when it comes to speaking out. Even though he and I had some differences, I trust him more than I trust a Michael Wilbon or James Brown or Stephen A. Smith. Did you hear Dr. Tony Gilmore and Dr. Harry Edwards 33 years ago talk about media and how they don't participate? Yeah, we are hustling backwards. And it was a great point made by Harry Edwards, how we allow them to come into our community and take our jewels out. Our jewels. These kids, and use them on the plantation, because that's exactly what college football is now, and what NFL, same plantation mentality. And I can't understand how these guys from the community, because I know them, I know where they came from, how they can have their heads in the sand for a dollar bill while our kids' blood flow in the street, flow in the street. And they're heroes to some of you. They're heroes. I don't have no heroes. My heroes is the man upstairs, God, and my wife. Those are my heroes, man. You know, I think about, I just heard recently that there are some people thinking about, they don't want to be bothered with the Super Bowl. They don't want to be bothered with the Super Bowl if athletes go sit and kneel for the national anthem. Are you kidding me? These same folks who are protesting the athletes kneeling or sitting while the national anthem is being played, those are those same folks who don't want to talk about racism. I guarantee you, they don't want to talk about racism. Now, there's going to be a part 2 to this. I got so many great stories, man, as we look back. As you can see, I was way ahead of the curve. Inside Sports was out of Compton long before NWA. Find out how many of these sportscasters today have got behind and had inducted into the NFL, NBA Hall of Fame. Any athlete. I bet you they can't name one. I could name 2. Willie Wood, Earl Lord, that I campaigned for when their own organizations had forgotten who they were and the contributions that they made. A little guy at AM radio. Yeah. Yeah, but I was blessed to have in my corner some bad brothers that I didn't have to kneel down to and kiss their butts. Talking about Muhammad Ali, Red Hardback, you know. Yeah, we still got a long ways to go. And those of you out there hating on me, buddy, I could care less. Because my heroes, like I said, I didn't have heroes, but I did have them with my grandmother and mother, and now my wife. My heroes are black women that couldn't shoot a jump shot, throw a ball 60 yards in the air, or hit a baseball out of the stadium. But they were superstars in the game called life. And that's the most important game being played in the world today. I know you see exactly where I'm coming from. 2018, 33 years ago. That's what we were talking about. And here we are in 2018 talking about those same things. Look behind me. You see there's Jackie Robinson back there. There's Muhammad Ali back there. There's Dick Gregory back there. And of course, the quarterback, Colin Kaepernick. I take my hat off to him, you know, for the stand that he's taken. But he didn't invent the wheel. No, indeed. There were John Carlos, Tommy Smith, Jackie Robinson, Paul Robeson, Jack Johnson, Dick Gregory. All those guys stood up to be men, man, and call out this inequality that's going on in our country today. Well, I'm going to come back with part 2. So don't go too far from the legends of Inside Sports. Until next time, I'm Harold Bell, and you can color me gone.